I do want to re-rack that entire scenario, that scary situation of
images of Twitter of the shooter allegedly killed
at a campaign
I'll see if I can find
for former President Trump over in Butler, Pennsylvania. If you are just joining us, we did carry it for you live. It happened just after 6 p.m. Eastern time, about 5 minutes into the former president speaking. Let's watch as this entire chaos unfolded.
Oh my God.
And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And
this
if
is
you
history,
want
it's
to
insanity.
really see something to said, take a look at what happened.
This will go down in history. It will. Oh, 100% it will. It's not even a question. It's like they shot Reagan too.
Hold. When you're ready, on you.
People still remember that.
Move. Go.
Hawkeye's here. Moving to the stair. Get ready.
Yeah, they said shoot her down, right?
Are we good?
Yeah, see?
Shooter's down. Are we good to move?
Yeah.
Let's move.
They know who the shooter is. They already got his ass.
Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we got to move to the bus.
Let me get my shoes.
Okay,
Watch out.
Wait.
Did he just fix his hair? Did he get shot? He did. Damn.
All right, watching there the very scary moments at the Trump campaign rally from earlier today over in Butler, Pennsylvania. The former president being escorted by Secret Service, being escorted inside of the motorcade there, trying to get to safety.
Happened to our
and we are going to continue to show you
Dude's
more of that
now.
scene a little throughout this evening. In fact, as we continue to learn more on this developing story, I do want to bring up a tweet right now as we continue to learn more. This is from Meredith McGraw, but just in from the Trump spokesperson. President Trump thanks law enforcement and first responders for the quick action during this heinous act. He is fine and being checked out at a local medical facility. More details will follow. I'd like to bring once again into the conversation national security expert, also counter-terrorism expert, and someone who has worked with the Secret Service. We have Hal Kemper joining us live again. Hal, as we continue to re-rack the situation and try to learn exactly what happened, I'm going to go ahead and play out all of those scenes, and I'd like you to describe to our viewers what we're seeing here in terms of the response from
Did anybody else get hurt?
Agents, and also,
it's uncertain, but people think that they did.
What they could have possibly been. I know that you described where that could have come from as we still learn from this investigation.
Okay, Correll, when we look at it, one of the things I was looking for in the background is to see which way the audience is reacting.
Yeah.
Okay, you see where he's standing. He's a little bit off to the right. Now look where he's looking. Okay, see he's looking off to his right. Okay, and let's watch him. All right.
Trump shooter has been identified.
And that's where
a rabid Antifa member. Ooh.
I don't know for sure, but
who could have guessed?
It may have been he got a shot that came from his right, and that may have been what got his ear. And one of the things I'm looking for, if you watch this scene, you see Secret Service immediately rushed up. They're saying, duck, get down. They got him down low. They got him out of whatever line of sight a possible shooter might have been in. They don't know clearly here. It doesn't look like they know where the shots came from. But as it pulls back, look to what's our left, on the left side of the screen. which would be to President Trump's right. Do you notice everybody's kind of looking off to the right out there?
Yeah, no, they are. Even these people are too.
If they heard something or saw something. You know,
well, they couldn't have shot him from this side.
And keep in mind, acoustics
like
in a
this,
situation
so
like this, they
head.
bounce around. You're never 100% sure.
It's
could
obvious.
be they heard an echo effect, but based on where his head was and where his ear was, when he reached up to his ear, it could have been that the shot came from his right, and it could have been instinctively that some of those behind him immediately turned that direction because maybe that's where they thought they heard the pops or the sound coming from. With that said, maybe it was a weapon that was further out. Maybe it was something that's not in the crowd. It's too early to tell. Again, I would say they're going to freeze the situation. They're going to collect evidence. They're going to be talking to everybody there. They're probably going to be doing some sort of check to see if there's any residual residue, gunpowder residue on anybody's hands,
probably,
coats, whatever,
I would bet.
to try and figure out if there's a shooter within the crowd.
I think it was just one crazy person, to be honest.
I find it interesting that he was literally
That's
turning
what I think
off
happened.
to the right. He reaches up to his ear. That's where we saw blood later.
It was one crazy person.
And then you saw people standing behind him instinctively start looking to the right. And of course, you know, the thing you see today that you wouldn't have seen, say, you know, way back is everybody grabs their phones and they're going to be looking out there. And that's another thing that investigators, Secret Service are going to be trying to do is to look at everybody's phone. They were all, everybody was.
I feel like they're going to know who it was so fast.
Doing live action motion video.
Like they probably already know who it is.
You know, that was out there. You see
like
that immediately.
They don't need like 10 different angles. It's obvious they're going to know who it is.
And then you see after the shots, I mean, literally,
shooter's
people
dead.
Are
I bet he's
with their
not.
Phones up, and I can tell you that that's something that they're used to now. You know, years back, if somebody popped up holding something like that in their hand,
no, let me check. I could be wrong.
By law enforcement because they would say, "There's like, what is that?" They might mistake it for a weapon. But in this case, there's going to be a lot of people out there that have video of what occurred, and on that video, they may have some vital clues, if you will. Some vital information that'll help investigators put together where the shot came from and basically what the whole situation rolled out to look like. But the fact that he was looking off to the right and then his ear was hit could have been indicative of somebody trying to take, and this is purely postulation, we don't know, all right? Could have been somebody trying to do what would we call a headshot, all right? And he could have moved his head. They winged his ear, which is where you see the blood coming from. Secret Service reacted immediately, got him down. He's out of the line of sight of the shooter.
Somebody says they have a picture of the shooter,
the shots are coming from,
and it's the body.
But
maybe they are dead.
To see where people instinctively,
maybe they're dead.
Where do they think the shots came from? And they're going to be much better than anything we would hear. You know, certainly from microphones, audio feed that would come in via who's ever there, you know, whatever media is there. We're not going to pick that up quite so clearly. But people will hear things, and people will often instinctively turn the direction of where they thought they heard something coming from. And it looks like there's a lot of indications right off that it may have been a shot that came from the right side. Okay, and you see him go down immediately. So, and that's probably one of the reasons that you only see what you see is because there was probably somebody there. And we can't see everything, but you see how fast he went down. Secret Service reacted.
I feel like he ducked down because he didn't even know what the fuck
happened. To get him out of
happened.
the line of sight of any would-be shooter, and to get him covered. You see where they're basically putting their bodies.
Go to
and
NBC.
With that, the ballistic vests that they all wear to basically provide a human.
We know about this.
Attendees of the rally and what kind of did you see them get shot directly or did you just see the aftermath?
No, you just heard the noise. You heard the pop, 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 seen the aftermath, and neither of them looked good. They were both down. Nobody was talking. Nobody was moving.
What was going through your mind as you were witnessing all of this?
Are they still here? And am I going to get shot? That's what's going through my mind. He's holding my hand, and we were going to get up and try to get out of here. And some gentleman there said, "No, you stay down." So we stayed down, and then we finally heard everybody evacuate, and he grabbed my hand, and we got out of there.
And Joe, what was your state of mind coming into this rally
video on
today?
Twitter?
What were
Yeah.
you expecting, and what are you feeling now as we all experienced
Number one trending
a
thing on
day
X's
that,
stage?
that none of us thought
for sure.
would come?
Well, I was excited. I mean, this is just our second rally, and the first one, Trump is very energetic when it comes to these, and well, now I want to vote for him more than ever.
Why is that?
Shit!
Just to send a message to these people. They can stop us.
Fuck them.
Don, how are you feeling? I mean, you're here with your son. Of course, you want to protect your baby, and you don't want them or yourself to be in any danger. What were those mama instincts in that moment, and how are you feeling right now?
Exactly. My mama instincts were when he grabbed my hand, I knew my son was scared to death because he was holding my hand. He had held my hand since he was probably 5 or 6 years old. And so he held on to my hand, and you can imagine, my heart went into a million pieces. All I kept thinking was we got to be safe and get out of here, and I agree with Joe.
Damn, look at that
This
picture.
country got to get back in line. This is out of control.
Holy shit.
How did you get
That's really
out,
not that
ultimately?
much
How
blood.
did you get here to safety?
That once
really
they
not.
evacuated us, because right where we were sitting, we were able to just keep on going. We actually watched snipers and everybody over on the side for a few minutes.
It's an
We just
ear.
got
That's what
out
I'm
of there. We
saying,
were
right?
scared.
It was
What
only
did you
the
see
ear.
from your vantage point of the snipers? These were the people protecting the former president.
That's correct. And now they were over in the lawn. They just were watching every single person with their guns going by. I believe the one injured person was over there that they had. Wasn't he on the one on the ground?
Yeah, so before they evacuated, they carried the 2 injured people out. Then they yelled for us to get evacuated. At that
So
point,
there's 2 other people that got injured.
The Secret Service were up in our section with the guns,
Damn.
and they were all in the field. Because like I said, rumor was he climbed up the back of our bleacher. So,
Joe, Donna,
Wow.
thank you both so much. I'm so glad you
Holy
are
shit.
safe. I know this was not the day that you were
Too dead?
expecting.
No, they just
and
hurt.
thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Don't go too far. I might have some follow-up questions for you. So, Lester, there you have it. Another first-hand account. They were right there. This was not the experience anyone was expecting. Still trying to grapple with
I would
what just
expect
happened here, Lester.
Dasha Burns, thank you for that interview. Very revealing. We should point out it's unconfirmed what those witness accounts were of other people who might have been wounded. We're tracking all that down, and as soon as we have more on that, we'll certainly bring it to you. I want to bring in
I'm
our
going to guess it's a
investigative
3D printed
correspondent,
gun.
Tom Winter. He joins
think
us on
so?
the phone with some new reporting.
I bet it
on
doesn't
the
need this.
events tonight.
This is America,
Tom?
bro. It's probably just a real gun.
Incorporating the work of myself.
Tons of people have guns here. Like, why would you 3D print? You just go buy a gun.
U.S. law enforcement officials tell NBC News that there is a growing concern.
Did you have a shoot on X? I know. I can't watch it. Somebody already sent it to me. I can't watch it because it's like a dead body.
Former President Donald Trump. Based on the facts of the investigation as they're developing them.
Or it's potentially a dead body.
2 senior law enforcement officials tell NBC News that there is a growing concern
Got a link?
that this may have been
if they want to link it in chat.
serious attempt on the life of former President
What do you mean
Trump.
it may have been?
Lester, I can tell you, as you can well imagine, there is a lot of conflicting information.
What do you mean?
Right now, as this investigation gets sorted out.
They shoot him in the
what
head?
occurred on the ground.
I'd be like,
who heard
guys,
what from where.
I think this might be political.
We're proceeding with extreme caution as to what we're hearing and who may or may not have been involved. But there is definitely a concern that this may have been a serious attempt on former President Trump's life. And why that might be important, some people might say that would be obvious. You know, different things can happen.
I might just listen to this real quick.
To me, as you're trying to figure out, you're okay, what's going on? Was he shot? Was he wounded? Then we heard him on the microphone, Shannon, saying, let me grab my shoes as they tried to take him off. So
I see,
just trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah, they got the body right there. It's a post on Drama Alert.
Continue to do our reporting and obviously get right back on with you as we get more information.
Yeah, Tom, stay with me very quickly. I just want to point out we saw some shots of police tape now being put around the area, the stands where former
live
President
stream
Trump
fail. I mean,
was,
it's kind of a live stream fail.
Earlier,
Yeah,
but it's now a crime
for
scene.
the shooter.
So what
it
you're
is.
seeing is in fact a crime scene. The Secret Service,
fucking
likely to lead
missed.
that investigation. But Tom, we've all talked about it.
Fucked
We've seen
up
examples of it. Political violence. This is something that law enforcement has been bracing itself for.
Sure,
in
this No, Matt got it.
season, is it not?
Yeah.
Without a doubt, Lester, I have lost track of the amount of times you and I have talked about it privately in the offices. We've reported on it. The FBI director, in an interview with you directly, said that he was concerned about this type of thing Lester. And so I think everybody's been concerned about the potential issues, the potential things that could come up during the course of this election, given how divided the country is, given the level of threats. And so that's something that people are acutely
Trump got lucky
on,
as fuck.
Sure.
All right,
He
Tom,
did.
thanks very much. I'll let you get back to your reporting.
He straight up did, bro.
More
Like,
details as this story develops here tonight. Let's bring in Evie Pomporis, a former Secret Service agent, joining me on the telephone right now. Can you give us a sense from what you have seen,
beyond
give us your
lucky.
Professional eye of,
That's
of
a
what
nat
appears
20?
to transpire here?
Yeah.
Yes. So what we're seeing is
divine intervention.
That's what. Rally, speaking at the
that's
rally,
what they saying, brother.
The shots. That it almost sounds like these soft popping sounds. So we hear these multiple shots. We see him put his hand to his ear, and then you see the agents come in. Those agents that come in are the shift. It's his detail team. For them to come in like that, that means this is a serious threat. Something serious happened.
He does.
We're also
he
seeing
fixes
the
his hair.
Team, and we're looking at the live shot. We see
my
the shot of the tactical team. That's the element that comes in. When you see the tactical team, their job is to look for the threat. So you have two entities here. The agents in suits, they're the shift. Shift comes in, immediately comes on top of the president, and they are there to surround him and to make sure that the shots hit them. The tactical element that we see come in after.
That's incredible,
their
right?
Job
Secret
is to
Service,
out,
man.
And we see them facing out toward the crowd, and they are to look for the threat. Clearly, we see the agents that get around him.
That's
they
unbelievable.
Shield him, and then they move in this unison
badasses,
to shield him body-wise so that nothing strikes him. They move him slowly down the stairs and make their way to the armored vehicles. That's what we're looking at. Now, Lester, if we're looking at how did this happen, again, this is all.
What do you mean? It's crazy. People hate Trump. Like, what do you mean? How did it happen?
What's going on here? What went? And it's soon
it's
to
fucking
say,
obvious how it happened. Fucking people hate Trump forever.
When you have rallies like this, ideally, you're supposed to have magnetometers. So that's going to be the first thing they're going to look at. Were there magnetometers, right? How did this weapon get in? Sometimes when it's a former president, you may not have all the elements that a sitting president would have, right?
Oh, they will
all
now.
The tactical capabilities. So it's going to be, how did that weapon get in? Were there magnetometers? Were people checked for weapons? And then from that point, where was that person positioned, right? How were they able to get in and get that angle of a shot?
Well, as we look at these pictures, again, as you described, the former president being rushed into that vehicle to be taken away from the scene, I keep thinking about what's happening in the crowd. Unfortunately, the cameras aren't pointing on the crowd, but given the number of pops or potential shots we heard, it seems a lot of people were at risk. You've covered these events, no doubt, as have I. A lot of people wanting to get close to their candidate. That's part of what happens in a campaign. How does the Secret Service draw the balance there as to create, a fortress of security at the same time, allowing people to do what people should be doing at rallies like this?
So let's go to your first point where there's people there. When you do these events, and I've done these events, it's called a site advance. When you secure an event like this, you're the site agent. So you have two goals, two missions. I am to protect the President of the United States, right? However, the other goal or mission is the people at this event. So, yes, they're targeting, or let's say assuming, right, that, again, we don't have confirmation. But when someone is targeting the President, right, if they're going to shoot, yes, he's an issue, but also the people in the area are an issue, right? Where are all these rounds going? So when we hear these sounds, these small, these echoes of what appear to be shots, it wasn't one shot. There were multiple shots, and every round, Lester, has to go somewhere. It lands somewhere. Where are they going? So you've got all these people. So you are responsible not just for the safety of the U.S. president, but you are responsible for the people there. The president, think of him as he's a target, right? Wherever
staged
he
as
moves,
fuck, bro. Why do you think it's staged?
Just because of what he attracts as a sitting U.S. president.
Why do you think it's staged? Why?
President or a candidate. So when you put them in a place like this, you also have to think strategically.
False flag? Come on.
What about all the people there? Now, you'll see the barricades that are set up.
If this is a false flag,
what you may not see in that shot is you will have
that gunman is a god
element. That means You want
to nail it right there on his ear, barely.
Out.
There's no way, bro.
Movement for the president.
This puts what's his name?
An alternate movement for him if he can't get out the primary way. So we've got typically at least
Lee Harvey Oswald, bro. This puts him in the dirt.
Vehicles that are staged there, they are positioned there
to nail a shot like that next to somebody's head.
Evacuate him. Because also
no
you're in
way.
an open area here, right?
I don't think anybody could do that.
You don't have that concealment to cover. You have. Whenever you do,
I don't think anybody could do that.
Massive
no way.
Line of sight issues, meaning you can get the threat from so many different ways.
Chris Kyle
so
could.
So many different areas. And just one thing to touch on too.
The blood's fake, really? Yeah, the blood's fake. So now Secret Service is all in on it too, right?
Like do the investigation of what happened, right? So it's the Secret Service element is the element that does a protection, and the FBI typically.
Yeah, 2 other people got shot too.
To investigate.
What are you doing?
Did this happen?
Abby, let me ask you this.
What are you doing, bro? Like, come on.
In terms of what kind of intelligence law enforcement has or is given before an
Kyle
event.
Rittenhouse?
We're in prime time campaign season. These candidates are out there doing sometimes multiple stops in a day.
They're right in front of him. Of course he killed him.
How much does
anybody could have done that
know about potential threats? Maybe somebody in the crowd who has written a nasty email or a letter or that sort of thing.
They do. Before
they killed 2 innocent people. No, they hit 2 innocent people. I don't know.
So here he's going to his location, right? He's going to a town, to a city, wherever he's going. You work from the beginning.
1 dead.
You have many meetings with the local police department. The president, former president's coming in. He's going to do a rally, and we share intel. The U.S. Secret Service shares their intel. This is what we're hearing from our side. The local police department, typically because they know what's going on in their community, they're also going to have their ears to the ground. They're going to have intelligence and information. And then we have these meetings. The Secret Service will have these meetings before an event where everybody comes together and everybody shares. I'm hearing this. You're hearing this. What do we need to do? What elements do we need to put in place? So if you're hearing there's a lot of protesters, you're hearing talk that people are going to show up and cause problems. That is all
2 dead, the shooter and bystander. Yeah.
What you need.
Yeah, no, Cody's texting me that.
Figure out what assets to put into the crowd to blend in. You're seeing the Secret Service suits. You're seeing the tactical team. You'll see uniforms for the police department. But they also have an element there that is the unseen. We don't call them undercovers, but there's those agents and law enforcement
plainclothes,
who will
officer in plainclothes
in the area and plain clothes and kind of lend their ear out and hear what's
Everybody knows about that.
All right, Evie, you have been a tremendous help helping us understand the mechanics of security in a situation like this. Hopefully we can rely on you again to talk a bit later.
This is scary.
Thank you so much.
It is in a way, right? Yeah, it is.
The shocking video, frankly, from Pennsylvania, where earlier this evening, early evening here on the East Coast, someone apparently took shots at the former President
2 shooters?
Trump. As we heard, 2 senior law enforcement officials saying there is a growing concern that there may have been a serious attempt on the life of former President Trump. Apparently his wounds are survivable. He's barely doing okay, but we saw him clutching his ear, a bloodied ear, as he was led from the scene. People heard multiple pops in the crowd.
No, that's hardly any blood, bro.
Continuing to track
like I've seen people like get cut.
Potential other victims in this, people who might have been in that
everywhere.
crowd. This was a rally.
Blood fucking everywhere.
Pretty much like so many we have seen throughout this election season. People joyous, people excited about seeing the candidate, hearing what he had to say.
The BB is trending? Of course
nobody
it is.
signed up for this, however. I want to go to NBC's Dasha Burns, just outside that Trump rally north of Pittsburgh. Dasha, you were there as the crowds were trying
It's an ear, don't bleed that much? I know. That's what I'm saying.
Video,
that's what it means, right? That's my point.
Your eyes are focused on former President Trump and his reaction, but you're also seeing people in the crowd who seem unaware or don't quite realize what's happening. I suppose that's not unusual. As you were able to exit the grounds, were people beginning to fill in some of the blanks of what they saw and heard?
Not much in the ear.
Yeah, Lester,
what I'm saying is like
there was a lot.
I'm saying that proves that it was only his ear.
Something like this to happen
because there's not that much blood. You see my point?
Protocol when you come to a Trump rally, and as we were first hearing those sounds, so many people that I've talked to, myself included, our team here, thought it might have been fireworks. We weren't sure what was going on. Now, as everyone has taken a bit of a breath and is trying to absorb what happened, we now understand that that's not necessarily the case. We are coming to you live right now from the parking lot for this venue.
Coming to you live from the parking lot.
Thousands and thousands of supporters. There are thousands of cars here. And Lester,
people are going to pull up like crazy now.
Evacuated the rally are
now they're going to be pulling up like crazy
and trying to process what just happened. That's how I ran into Aaron here. Aaron was in the front row there near the president. Aaron, first of all,
bro, this is going to be nuts.
How are you feeling?
I'm okay.
People are going to go ape shit after this.
I was directly in front of Trump, my seat. I was looking him in the eye. We heard the pops, maybe 3 minutes into the rally.
She got the hat.
3 to 4 minutes. I heard 4 pops. Pop, pop, pop. The 4 Secret Service immediately jumped on the stage, and we saw him push President Trump to the ground. Then the gentlemen that have the guns came up to start clear right, clear left. They said, get him up. So they lifted him up, and Trump said, I got to get my shoes on first.
Did his shoes come off?
His shoes must have, we couldn't see it underneath that, but his shoes must have come off when they dropped him down to the ground. First thing he said, we could all hear it, I have to get my shoes on first. And when he stood up, I'm looking at him forward, I see the red teardrop right here of blood, fresh red blood, just a little tear. Then when they got him up and they turned him, I could see the blood from the top of the ear to the bottom. Wasn't gushing, but it was covered.
Yeah.
And then he put the fist bump up, stay strong, and they walked him off.
He says, stay strong.
Aaron, what was going through your mind? What did you think when you first heard those sounds?
I thought
this is some fucking anime shit.
4th of July, it's been pop, pop, pop. That's what it
this
sounded
is some fucking anime, bro.
The gentleman behind me, I was one seat.
God
he was to the right of me. He could see the sharpshooter on the behind Trump. He said the sharpshooter shot to the left. He killed the gentleman in the water tower here. Now, when I called my husband at home, who's watching TV, he said, I thought Trump hurt his ear when he went to the ground. But he said, no, on TV they showed before Trump hit the ground, the ear was bleeding. So that sharpshooter went across. Trump
what
turned
percentage
his head,
you say about this
his
not being
ear
real?
must have been nipped, and it killed somebody in the stands over to the left.
Could you see anyone injured besides the blood on the former president?
All I saw was the gentleman
it's fake.
From Beaver County who spoke earlier in the day, who was running for the state house representative, Elmore. I know his name.
So rare.
He had a white shirt on, and I
One
saw
in
him come
1,000.
from that left stands where the people were mostly shot. I think there were several. They said 3 medevacs left here. Blood was down the right side of his. He wasn't shot, but you could see that he was next to somebody who must have been bleeding profusely, because he either helped them and ran, rubbed against them, or tried to get them help or something. It was covered, so I knew that he was near somebody. That was my first indication that somebody was actually shot, when I saw his blood on his shirt.
Aaron, when did you realize that, hey, this might not be fireworks, this might be something else?
When they got Trump down on the ground. And then we were just so concerned that he wasn't hit, because we couldn't. It happened so fast. It's really hard to process it. I guess if you have it on your camera to see the exact minute, you can tell. But when he got up, he did not look bad at all.
Yeah, it was.
He looked very strong. So then I saw that little
you
bit.
want to endorse this Trump?
I
saw that.
Hurt himself, hopefully.
Yep.
But it does appear that he was probably nicked by that bullet.
Where is it?
That Aaron turned his head just in the nick of time, but just.
And Aaron, you were so near to all of this yourself. You were right there. How did you personally feel about your own safety? Were you scared? What was that experience?
I was totally not scared for my own. None of us in that front row went down to the ground. Not a one. We wanted to only help the president.
Damn.
That's all we wanted to do. Either we could protect him, we could stand around him. I didn't see one person in the row hit the ground.
You guys say
Not
that,
one.
bro.
I was shocking. No one was concerned
Bro,
about
ain't nobody going to take a bullet for Biden.
Now,
I'm going to just say that.
You're out
Even
there
if you don't like
you're
Trump, I get it.
This. I know
There's a lot of reasons, but bro, ain't nobody taking a bullet for Biden.
How are you feeling now in this moment?
Well, what I've heard coming out
Let's
is
be real.
now they feel that there was 2 shooters on both sides. So they got the one on the tower on this side, but the one on the right side they never got.
Biden don't
So
sit anyway.
that's why they wanted us to leave immediately, because they thought there's still a shooter out there somewhere. So there could be in these woods around Butler.
He's 1 HP already. Yeah.
Aaron,
they probably be like, man.
I've covered many
like
Trump rallies. I don't know how many you've been to.
My sixth. This is yours. I was here on the fourth car in the parking lot this morning at 20 to 7.
Oh my!
So I've worked all day.
You've been here all day. You know that.
I knew you were NBC.
We're here. Look, you know the atmosphere coming into a Trump rally. The supporters, very jovial, very celebratory. Typically, people are selling merchandise, food. What were you coming in with today, and what are you leaving?
Someone died. They did.
Well, I was here 4 years ago when he was in Butler. You know, it was like 58,000 people. I tell people it was the most magical night of my life. When he came on that helicopter and circled 2 times, he had 4 rallies that night. It was just an unbelievable night. And I was anticipating to be another unbelievable night, but not this way.
Well, it's unbelievable, all right.
It's just very sad. I mean, all these people that came to see him and to have him hurt, I can't even describe it, you know. I just feel sad. I feel sad for our country. I feel sad for everybody.
The crazy thing is, if they ever did get Trump and actually shoot him, it wouldn't even matter. There'd be like 10 more Trumps right after that.
We're going to vote for him. You know, I mean, what is up with his violence?
That's the thing.
I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, I just wish that people that, I mean, I'm glad that guy's no longer with us anymore in that tower. And I hope they get the other one too. And I hope they don't nick him. I hope they get him and he's down.
Aaron, thank you so much.
Damn.
I'm so glad. No, I'm so glad you're safe. I know it's a lot to process today. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Absolutely.
A lot of people knew that Trump's shoes must have fallen off.
The shoes in new detail. And Lester, of course, this is an eyewitness account. We don't have those details confirmed. This is what Aaron witnessed from her vantage point. We will wait for law enforcement to give us those details. But again, this is a developing situation. And right now, Aaron and so many others just trying to make their way home, as there are thousands of people who were in this parking lot. Quite a bit of a traffic jam at this point as people are trying to make their way out. And of course, Lester, makes sense of what it is that they just witnessed.
Yeah, Dasha, thank you for your continued great reporting there as we get these accounts, and it bears reiterating. Look, folks, there are things that we're hearing, things we're learning. We'll tell them to you when we can confirm them. Obviously, the witnesses have been describing potentially other victims in this, and we continue to work that angle very aggressively. As we know more, we'll tell you about this. The same in terms of what we will hopefully be able to learn about who was behind this attack. As soon as we can tell you something we can verify, we will go right to that. Our senior White House correspondent, Kelly O'Donnell, joins us now. Kelly, talk to me about reaction from the Biden administration, obviously watching this with great concern tonight.
Well, Lester, there are important steps that the administration takes at this point. The current president has been briefed by the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, and of course, her agents were with former President Trump, are getting direct information from the scene to the president. In addition, the president has been talking with his Secretary of Homeland Security and his Homeland Security
Joe Biden was there when it happened to Lincoln,
the White House. That, of course, is Alejandro Mayorkas,
for him, he's probably used to this.
Cabinet level, and Liz Sherwood-Randall,
yeah, it's probably
the
third time he's seen it
on potential homeland threats inside the United States. In this
another
moment,
one of those.
it is not candidate and candidate. This is the sitting president having to deal with the law enforcement.
Yeah, he was an older man by then,
the national security implications, and sort of the mindset of the nation when an event like this happens. So the president is getting those threads of information coming into him. He is in Delaware right now. The vice president has also received an initial briefing. And certainly we are also hearing from others who have had their own experience and still do with the Secret Service. Former President George W. Bush putting out a statement saying that he and Laura Bush are grateful to the Secret Service that they were able to get former President Trump to safety, and they're concerned, of course, about what this incident was about, and they thank first responders for their swift action. So all the apparatus of the federal government shifts to deal with something like this. The Secret Service is involved in the investigation. They're also, of course, involved in the day-to-day protection of the former president. I have been told, based on my reporting, that the level of protection that he would receive as a former president, which has been his existence these last 3.5 years, heading into the convention in Milwaukee, he would be getting a larger detail as the presumptive candidate.
I feel like he probably should get more security too.
Already plans in the works for him to
I
have
feel like that's probably a good idea.
Robust, set of agents and procedures around him. They're also, of course, waiting to envelop the new running mate to be named at some point, and that person would also have Secret Service protection when former President Trump announces his pick. What happened today rattles the very core of the Secret Service. They do train for this. They are dealing with this potential threat at every event all the time. Here at the White House, where I am right now, no visible sign
Biden's
of any
probably thinking about who to get as a new vice president.
They are focused on certainly the events surrounding the former
That's probably
president
why.
at that location. It would also include state and local
he's like, damn, so they got Trump. I ain't a new vice president then.
In the investigation, which would typically be led by the FBI. So as far as any contact from the president, he's got a team of senior advisors around him who are able to give him direct information from the Secret Service as well as the Department of Justice, law enforcement, and importantly, those Homeland Security advisors, both at the cabinet level and inside the White House, who may have more of a picture about potential threats or concerns that our colleague Tom Winter was talking about. That's where we are at this point from the White House, Lester.
Kelly O'Donnell, thank
Security
you very much.
fault?
Excuse me. The good news
Hard
is,
to say.
Again,
Who knows?
We saw the former president leaving, getting into the
Shooter was
car,
on a roof?
pretty much under his own power, certainly supported and
escorted
I
see
to
that.
safety. But
like, I'm not looking at it right now.
Looks like he will be okay. And once again, flashing that triumphant fist that is characteristic.
I'm trying not to look at the shooter stuff.
For those of you just tuning in, we want to play for you the moment when Secret Service
I have an
agents
image of the shooter, but I don't want to show it yet because it's not confirmed.
We want to caution you that we don't know exactly who said what's captioned on the screen or why they said it, because it was such a chaotic moment, but here it is.
Are we good? Shooters down. Shooters down. Are we good to move? We're clear. We're clear. We're clear.
Bro, people are already mad at Hassan. Read this.
And again, that moment of chaos, you hear the screams in the crowd as people are beginning to learn.
Former president, what was this here? Real quick. Former president gets shot and stands strong, doesn't run. Hassani's clip farming. He was 100% clip farming. That doesn't make, like, bro, he's been in the media forever.
That county who tells NBC News
it's kind of true.
Shooter, the person they believe
he fixed his hair
for this event, is in fact deceased. So again, to repeat, the local district attorney in the area where the Trump rally is telling one of our colleagues right now
Brilliant
that
move.
in fact the alleged shooter, the person they believe to be responsible for this, is deceased.
That's the point.
We do not yet have a name or
Shooter's
identity
dead?
of that individual. We don't know their background, where they may have come from, any sort of personal motivation.
Brilliant farm.
That's information we're still trying to gather. But that's the headline. The second component of this, 3 senior U.S. law enforcement officials tell myself and colleague Jonathan Deans that there appear to have been, or they're looking into whether or not several other individuals were shot that were
apparently
in the
a glass fragment hit
those
Trump.
Are not individuals suspected to be
not the bullet.
In this. Those were,
damn, that dude
either
sucks.
rally-goers or bystanders, but they're looking into whether at least 2 other individuals were shot as well. So that's the latest update.
What an idiot!
That would seem to indicate to us a couple of things. One, they believe they know who did this. They believe they know where they were, potentially what they were using, and they can now start to do a lot of detailed investigative work. We don't know.
CNN said he
there is
fell.
no indication at this time that any other individual is involved. But obviously, it's very early and very preliminary on that front.
They missed his trending with "How do you miss?"
Yeah, let me just follow up on that. I think you may have answered the question, but we did hear from one witness a bit earlier who seemed to believe that there were 2 individuals involved. You're saying that the local DA is saying 1 shooter is deceased. So the belief is that it is a single shooter?
The belief at this time is that that's the case, because what they said was that the person
at Sandy Hook, they thought there were 2 shooters too. I remember watching it live at Jeff's house in the morning. It's very common that 2 shooters get originally reported because of the disorientation. That doesn't necessarily mean that there was 2 shooters.
A lot of things that are fluid on the ground, and just because this individual
just keep that in mind, guys.
By others at this rally,
the echo,
did they have
maybe
any
that's
sort
why.
of help in any other way? Those are big questions that'll be answered the next couple of minutes or hours Typically, based on past events, as you know, this is usually just one individual that's involved.
Yeah.
But of course, investigators have to keep their minds open, and as reporters who are relying on that information, the investigation that is going on in our own homework, well, we're keeping our minds open too.
Right.
And Tom, you and your team certainly have a huge depth of experience in these kind of breaking news matters, especially when they
Shooter dead on the roof.
issues like what we're seeing play out here. Is it likely this thing is going to unfold very quickly, that they will work backwards
Shooter's experience, professional
from the
CSGO?
moment of the shooting and,
I don't know if he's
and have a
professional.
pretty good idea of what they're dealing with?
So let's
Yeah, I don't know about him being a
law
professional.
enforcement Worst case scenario with respect to the investigation, if this individual had no identity,
New
on
NFT
him,
for
no
Trump.
sort of background, the FBI would be able to instant fingerprint him at the scene. They would be able to get information and.
The shooter's dead. I know. I haven't shown the clip because it's like a dead body.
Facial recognition.
I remember Hassan got in trouble for that like 5 years ago.
Government database. From there, you might know where the individual lives, any relatives.
So I try not to show
They
dead
will comb
bodies.
through every inch and ounce of his social media. They will have the ability to go to social media companies and ask for an emergency warrant. And they
I tried.
will
Yeah, I mean, it's
certainly
happened a
be
few
granted
times. It's happened like 10
to
times.
get access to those communications, cell phone communications, text communications.
Tom.
All of that will be part of the instant investigation.
I apologize to ask you a question, then I have to interrupt you, but we are getting some confirmation. The Butler County DA is now telling us that one spectator has died in this incident. One has been apparently wounded and is in critical condition, and the shooter, as Tom has been reporting, is dead. So to repeat that news, and this comes via the Butler County DA, one spectator at this Trump rally is dead.
Bro.
Another is in critical condition, and the shooter, what we believe right now at this hour, the lone shooter, is also dead.
Yep.
And as our colleague Tom Winter was reporting, they will work very quickly and work backwards, and will likely know a lot about this individual in a short amount of time.
That's not even.
You see former President Trump trying to acknowledge the crowd while being obviously stunned and being led to the safety of an armored vehicle.
True.
It appears that he is okay, suffering what we've all been able to see, some sort of a graze-type wound to his ear. We hear him, asking for his shoes. He is led away. He continues to turn toward the crowd to offer a sense of assurance that he is okay. He is now clear of that scene as people continue to leave, all of them telling stories of hearing these pops. Some of them, one woman we had on was able to describe the shooter. Now that we've got that confirmed, her account certainly jibes with what we're getting now from the officials in Butler County, Pennsylvania. And that is the crowd here trying to rally their spirits. And certainly this was several minutes apparently into the former president's rally there in Pennsylvania when this occurred. Multiple what sounded like shots, pops, but we presume there were gunshots fired in his direction as he was looking to the right.
Crazy, bro.
And a little unclear, he grabs his ear, and then you can see this team of Secret Service agents quickly swarm him, confirm that he is clear.
The dead guy's a martyr?
Out of danger.
Yeah, for people that are stuck in bronze for CSGO.
And then he is escorted to his vehicle and to safety. That area you're looking at right now is a crime scene. We've seen subsequent pictures where you see the police crime tape, and they will treat it as any other crime scene and try to get the details of this. We don't know what this means in terms of the exact injury that former President Trump received, what treatment he may be receiving.
Damn, dude, if he would have died,
his
I know,
ability
man.
to campaign.
I know.
We certainly, of course, expect to see him in this coming week as the Republican National Convention is about to begin on Monday in Milwaukee.
Obama tweeted.
RNC officials certainly trying to figure that out. But right now, the greatest concern is from that angle is the health of the former president.
I'll read it.
And of course, thoughts also turning now.
There's absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy. Although we don't know that exactly what happened, we should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt and use this moment to recommit ourselves to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery. Man, you know, I tell you something, like back whenever Obama was president, we never had any goofball shit like this. Man, like this dude, like in terms of acting, you might not like Obama, you might not like his politics, but bro, he was
We were in the press.
The most well-spoken president in my life. I didn't grow up really with Clinton. I think Clinton could be on that same level too. Bro, Obama was there. He got the charisma. He's so well-spoken, bro. He's a god. At speaking, like I feel like nobody else right now even comes close. Real talk. Nobody comes close.
It could be something more serious, and now, of course, we know deadly.
He had Riz. He did.
In the parking lot right now, just outside of this venue. This is where press and general attendees have had their cars parked. This is where we evacuated to when we were told to leave the site. That is now a crime scene, and I've been running into witnesses here as people have been trying to find their cars, trying to make their way out. And that is where I ran into a man named Joseph, and I want to introduce him to you now.
Vivek is as good as better,
as we just learned, Joseph, you weren't listening to the
bring up a
program
good point.
here, but Lester Holt, NBC News, just reporting that one of the attendees has deceased, has died from injuries as a result of the shooting. Joseph, you told me off camera that you may have witnessed this, and I'm so sorry to be talking to you in this tragic moment, but can you describe what it is that you saw?
I was attending the rally. I was in the set of bleachers, the very far left of the podium where President Trump was speaking. You know,
don't stream on. Let's not ignoring this.
Gunshots. The man beside me suffered a gunshot wound to the head.
Hassan's watching it.
Was instantly killed.
I mean, besides me and him, like almost nobody else covers any of this
Another
shit.
woman looked like she got hit in the forearm or hand, and then at that point in time, it was rather.
Yeah, there's almost nobody. Like XQC would be covering it.
Half the people were looking because they thought it was fireworks. And it was gunshots right away. My friend, you know, he hit the deck. I was kind of looking around just trying to see where the shots were coming from. It seemed to me like the shots were coming from behind the bleachers. It seemed to me the man got hit in the head from behind. He was killed instantly, as far as I could tell. And at that point,
I guess that's good.
State police and the SWAT team, you know, started evacuating the bleachers, and then I helped carry the man out of the bleachers to a tent that was behind the bleachers.
You helped carry the man yourself. What was his condition when you were
to die instantly?
He's deceased.
Yeah, that's the best way it could be.
How close were you to him?
Absolutely. Imagine bleeding out over hours.
Did you know the man?
No.
Or months, or weeks,
They put a towel over his head and then carried him off.
And you said there was another woman nearby who was also injured. Where was she in relation to him?
I believe she was in the bleachers, like either above me or
Bro,
just
no, I'm being serious.
But it seemed like she was kind of at my flank, and then she flinched, and it looked like she had taken a gunshot wound to the forearm and hand.
Joseph, from where I was standing, we heard multiple gunshots, 8 to 11 shots. We've been hearing it replayed on the video here. Do you remember, can you tell, I know it was a chaotic scene, but at what point, was it immediately when you heard the gunshots that he was shot, or was it later on into the firing?
The first 7, he was hit and she was hit within the first 7 shots. I counted 7 shots.
What was going through your mind? You were right there. I know it happened so quickly, but what can you tell us about those moments?
First, I was in shock because I know what gunshots sound like, so I knew they were gunshots. I couldn't tell from where they were coming from. And when I noticed someone got hit, then I noticed, well, it seemed like they were coming from behind me. And it just was pandemonium. And then I heard some more shots, and I couldn't quite tell where they were coming from. But I counted the first 7, and they were very loud and very close. And it killed one man and wounded another woman.
And Joseph, you told me that you're a doctor, you're an OBGYN. How did that background play into how quickly you were sort of able to assess the situation and know what happened to these individuals and know what was going on?
Well, I told the police, I tried to render assistance. I told the police I could render assistance. They had another physician on the EMT team, so they kind of took over.
What a G.
So they didn't really need me, so I kind of helped carry them down initially out of the bleachers.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't, the man that got hit, there was no assistance that needed to be given, and unfortunately his family witnessed the whole thing. It seemed like he had several family members in the bleacher with him, and they were quite upset. They didn't know, they were in shock. They didn't quite know what was going on, but the man was definitely killed instantaneously.
Could you tell us sort of how many family members or people who knew him were with him, and what was their reaction?
I thought there was 5
I think
people.
She's supposed to be okay.
2 of them were relatively hysterical.
Oh my God.
So, but they were, when we took the man out of the bleachers, he went to the tent. There was an aid tent or some type of tent
critical?
behind the bleachers where they took the body, and they immediately evacuated the family with them. And 2 out of the 5, it seemed, in shock, hysterical. Like they're still trying to process what was going on.
Joseph, from where I was standing, we heard the shots. We saw the president go down.
Yeah, I saw President Trump get hit.
What can you tell us? What details you remember?
It seemed like his head was off to the side, and it seemed like he got nicked in the ear.
Was that before the Secret Service took him down to the ground, covered him?
Right before the Secret Service. I mean, it was maybe
President Trump.
It's hard to tell, like, you know, time dilates when like these. It seemed like it was a
Oh
second
my
or two.
God.
Like that first 7 shots.
That was
went
close.
off,
Yeah.
The man got hit. He was killed almost instantly. The woman in the bleachers, she got injured, like she got hit in the forearm and the hand. And then in those rounds that were fired, again, I was videoing the event, so that's when I saw Trump get hit. And it seemed to me like he was looking to the side and the round grazed his ear. So
Jesus.
Could you tell the gentleman that
Other people
that
said it was glass from the
hit in
teleprompter
head,
that hit him. It's
what-
hard to know.
What angle he
We'll
was
find out later.
in relation to the former president? Like
Literally
which
less than an
direction
inch
the
from
bullets
death.
were
Think about
coming
that.
From and to.
So it
Fucking
looked like
insane.
He was facing the president at the very far left portion of the.
Left is trying to downplay
bleachers,
it.
So he's directly facing it. Again, it seemed to me like the
This is
shots
a big
were coming
deal.
from the rear, like behind
It's a really
us.
big deal. It's happened.
And for me, it
It's
seemed
a
like
huge
the man
deal.
was in the way. Like, you know, I guess.
In the way of the former president.
No, it seemed like the man was in the way of the shots.
There's
between
also
whoever
left-wing
was
people
shooting-
aren't responsible
shooting
for
the
this,
gun and the
right?
president.
They're not.
The man
This is a
was
crazy
hit,
person.
It seemed like he was in the crossfire.
And I
Like,
know,
yeah, that's.
and I know you're in shock and still processing all of this. It's sort of hard to evaluate our own emotions in this moment, but you just experienced something horrific.
Yes.
What can you tell us about your state of mind right now?
Yeah, you know, I've had opportunities to go to these rallies before. It was the first one I ever went to. Had, you know, time off to go do it. I was kind of excited to go, but you know, it's, you know, everyone, you know, it's something you don't expect. It comes out of the blue. It's like a bolt out of the blue, and it's shocking. You know, the way politics goes in this country, it just seems like it's really polarized. Everyone's just very angry. I'm honestly shocked this didn't happen earlier.
He's right. He's 100%
My
right.
friend I went with to the event with.
He's
me. I was like,
100%
you know,
right.
the back behind the bleachers, it's really open. It seems like a really open venue, and it just, you know, I got this sense that, you know, if someone really wanted to do something. And again, I was openly talking to her, and I was like, you know, if something was bad was going to be happening, this is the perfect venue to have. I just said this like an hour before it happened. I was like, this would be the perfect place to do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, surprisingly enough, it happened.
A devastatingly prescient observation from you.
Yeah, he's right.
Let me ask you one more question, because from where I was, there was confusion. Then Trump stood up, and there were some cheers, and then people sort of remained. Those that weren't in sort of the immediate zone where you were, people were still sort of cheering, talking, trying to figure out what was going on. How quickly did you know that whether or not there was still a dangerous situation? It seemed like people sort of
It's not being investigated for an assassination attempt,
right? So
you think
how
so?
soon did you know whether or not it was even safe? Did you want to get out of there? What did you witness in sort of the immediate
Yeah, I could
aftermath
see-
once the
yeah.
shots stopped?
Well, it seemed after the shops went off, everyone thought it was a prank. Everyone, I think, got a sense, like when I looked out into the crowd, everyone thought I think the initial reaction, everyone thought it was a prank. I knew better it was a gunshot because I just saw a guy got hit.
Yeah.
And it did.
For those of us that didn't see, it's some people started laughing, some people were confused.
Yeah, they didn't know what the fuck
wasn't immediately
happened.
clear to the crowd that didn't witness
That was a
what
joke.
you witnessed, you know, that this was in fact a dangerous and deadly situation.
Oh, it was a dangerous and deadly situation. The problem is it's a large crowd, and when the gunshots went off, I think they were, again, my sense was they were being shot from behind, so they sounded a bit muffled.
This is a good point. This dude brings
more
up.
like a firecracker going off. So I think
It's his
the
only
initial
message in
reaction from the
chat.
People around me were like, okay, well, someone brought fireworks. I just knew better. I knew what gunshots sound like. And, you know, when I saw the guy took a gunshot wound to the head, and I saw the woman who got hit in the forearm and the hand, I just knew it wasn't fireworks. I mean, it wasn't fireworks initially, but I think the majority of the crowd didn't understand that it was gunfire. And I think people took it really seriously when the SWAT team started jumping over the rails.
Yeah, seriously, what the fuck?
I don't know what to tell you outside of that.
Joseph, I know this, I can't imagine what it takes to describe what you just witnessed in these moments right in the aftermath. So we thank you so much for sharing.
I'm happy to.
Lester?
Dasha, thank you for that account. I mean, no one should have to, you know, fear for their life going to a political rally, something that is uniquely American. But these people have experienced the horror of someone opening fire on the crowd, and a former president who was, of course, the headliner at this rally tonight. As we've been reporting, one spectator is dead, another is in critical condition. The shooter, this all according to the Butler County DA, the shooter is also deceased. Our senior White House correspondent, Kelly O'Donnell, joins us again. Kelly, you have a new statement from President Biden.
That's correct, Lester. This is from President Biden, who is in Rehoboth, and he talks about this incident. He begins by saying, I've been briefed on the shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who were at the rally as we await further information.
Biden made a statement? Yeah,
Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it. The words of Joe Biden after learning about this incident involving his predecessor and his
that's as good as it could have been.
Rival in the political
that's so good
environment
he
of
probably
this
didn't say that.
2024 campaign. The president has been briefed by top officials. He has been talking with Homeland Security officials, and he is at his home in Rehoboth, Delaware, where he has a full complement of the things needed for the office, where he can get the income streams of all the relevant information. This first statement coming from President Biden, I would not be at all surprised if we don't hear more from him tonight as new developments take place. Lester?
All right, Kelly, thank you for that. Terry Schultz is with the Butler County, Pennsylvania District Attorney's Office and was at the rally. She is still there and joins me on the phone. Terry, first of all,
I disagree that the left isn't responsible for this.
Walk us through what you saw.
We'll talk about it after all this wraps up.
You know what? We didn't have VIP seats. We were a few rows back, enough that we could,
Yeah, we talk about it after.
The former president, and then we were all standing there. Watching the jumbotrons they had put him on, and the next thing we did was we hear 3 shots. I see kind of his head.
See that guy?
The former
it's right here.
Head go sideways. You can see kind of like, blood and
fuck you.
At that point, I wasn't looking.
You know that's what he's saying too.
With some friends.
That's the best part.
They were like, "You need to get down. Everybody get down." The people around me, there were some young people crying, and to be honest with you, at the time this happened, I wasn't even sure they were gunshots. But then we heard like 3 or 4 shots, and then we heard shots kind of returned. A friend of mine videotaped that.
Oh, they shot his ass.
Watched that, and that's what we saw and what we heard.
From your vantage point, were you able to see where the shots were coming from? Was it obvious?
It was not, but you could hear them, and
oh,
as
here's
soon as you heard
Biden.
The shots, your head turned towards the left. We have a route that runs outside.
Did you order it?
The Butler Farm Show, Route 68, and it sounded like the shots were coming from out there near the field.
Bro, Connor types the dumbest shit on Twitter.
Where we were, so.
Oh my God.
It certainly was scary.
You know, we look at the videotape, and it appears some people didn't quite realize what was happening at the moment. Were you one of them who was not quite sure what you were witnessing?
Man.
If you want to really
absolutely, and again, and so
people already trying to sell shirts.
My girlfriend is like, you have to get down. People around
us, of course,
pulling us down and saying you have to get down.
Of course, they're trying to sell shirts, man.
I can tell you that it was chaos at the time.
Have you been to one of these rallies before?
I have not.
Buy one?
It was,
oh God.
My first time at a rally, and I was certainly.
We started saying it was staged.
We had so many people there, but I can tell you the chaos that this created. It was everyone was scared. You know, you see the former president, and what's happening, and and then when I ascertained what had happened from my Pennsylvania State Police friends, it was very scary. But it was my understanding
I fucking
that
bet.
the shooter But that really does make a difference because it was just scary.
Reddit's having a
Our
meltdown.
understanding is the shooter is deceased, and one of the spectators as well, and one critically hurt.
Look at 50 Cent's Instagram.
And the former president is going to be okay. But you bring up a point I think we will all be talking about, and that is, of course, we don't know what the motivation was for this, but it certainly comes at a time that we are all keenly aware of the deep divisions and the risk of political violence. Is it something you even thought about as you set out to attend this rally tonight?
To be honest with you, no.
Trump gets shot now. I'm trying.
I guess I know that
Oh my God.
Unrest in the country.
Oh my fucking God.
I think that this would happen.
What are you going to say?
What concerns me more is
I know the vibes.
Political, but there are innocent people here, and look what happened. And it just
didn't he get shot like 8, 9, 11 times, something like that?
Your
Yeah.
point is certainly well taken. I know you're with the DA's office there. Do you have any special
Shooter
insight
identified?
into,
Yeah.
how the investigation is proceeding?
9. Bro, this dude, 50 Cent's a tank, man.
A lot of news trucks around here.
How do you get?
I know that.
How do you get shot 9 times?
Here,
That's a lot.
Again, I guess for me, I just question.
Did anyone die? Unfortunately, yeah. One person died for
security,
sure. The other
or
person's in critical
where this-
condition.
Where this person was
Yeah.
in a field that somebody wasn't looking after them, and I guess that's just me and
Sad, yeah, it's
my
really sad.
perspective of what I do.
It's horrible.
Yeah. All right, Terry, thank you very much as we continue to look at some of the pictures of the aftermath. We've shown you some of the still photos as well of people crouched down for safety, not sure at that moment where the threat was coming from. I want to tell you we are hearing
The world's greatest minds are on Twitter.
We read
Trump
a statement a few minutes ago.
stage,
We will
they
hear from President
miss.
Biden at some point this evening. We don't have a firm time on that,
God,
but we'll
bro.
keep you honest and let you know when we know more about that. In the meantime, let me bring in our senior Washington correspondent, Hallie Jackson. Hallie, we're all shocked and
These
certainly
headlines are
saddened
unbelievable.
of the loss of life here. And,
Yeah,
and
they're
the
really messing
injuries,
up
and
with
we're,
this. Media is
certainly
really doing
grateful
themselves
that
a
the
disservice
former
by
president
this.
Is okay, but
MAGA
this
responds
is
with
going to be a
outrage after
very
Donald Trump
tough
injured.
Conversation of the weeks coming forward.
What are we doing?
One we've had on different levels before. Share your thoughts if
What are
you
you
would.
doing that for?
And none of it, of course, taking away, Lester, from, as you described, the urgency.
They do.
And
they
the,
doing
frankly,
themselves
the
such a
devastation of this
disservice by
moment,
this.
Given what we have now learned
Yeah,
about what has
they
happened
really-
at this rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. I can tell you
There's
that
such a disservice.
Our team here at NBC News is out to a myriad of campaign sources close to former President Trump. And obviously the latest that we've heard, and you've been reporting this, is that he is okay. He is, in the words of a spokesperson, fine and being looked at. We are seeking more information. I can also tell you that based on a message to staff obtained by our colleagues here at NBC, Alan Smith and Matt Dixon,
This is how democracy
top
dies?
campaign official is telling staff members that everything is okay, that we have no details to share at this time, but saying they'll follow up soon with more information. They are directing staff members to not speak with members of the media. They want what they describe as a total lockdown here. They add that your personal safety is of the utmost importance here. To pray, remain vigilant, and be strong. That is the messaging now. According to NBC News, that Trump campaign staff members are getting from the top, as there is just, it is always, of course, it is chaotic in the moments after something like this happens. And it's also, I think, another reason to be extraordinarily careful in what and how we report what we know has occurred here in what is just a historic day here in the United States, Lester.
Yeah, and then, of course, Hallie, we are here on the weekend before the
Hopefully this gets people to like dial in the
there will be some
extremist rhetoric and like calls for violence.
We're hitting primetime campaign season now.
Like it's kind of like I think this is definitely like a tipping point where like doing that from this point on will be like seen very differently.
Not maybe 3+ hours ago. The biggest story that I think
it'll be seen differently a lot.
Donald Trump picked
Whether
to be his
people get
running
banned
mate.
for it or not, that's who
much of the
knows.
attention here
But
on this rally
it
in
will be
Butler,
seen much
Pennsylvania. The
differently.
conversation has clearly and necessarily changed very dramatically since then.
People want revenge?
One of the
Yeah, for
questions
sure, of
moving
course.
forward is going to be the movements of former President Trump. How long is he going to remain at the medical facility where he's at now? Where will he head after that? Does he still plan to be at the Republican National Convention starting on Monday? Obviously, that kicks off in Milwaukee with the expectation that at some point between now and of course, next week, he would announce his vice presidential pick. That is obviously taking a backseat
let's be
to
honest.
the immediate question of his own health and safety, as he is the presumptive Republican nominee here. And we are going to try to get some answers to those questions as soon as we can, Lester.
You look at it from his perspective.
We'll ask you to stand by. Thanks. Let me bring in Kristen Welker,
the fact that they
moderator of
didn't
Meet the
get
Press.
him
She's in Washington.
makes
Kristen,
him look
you're
so
learning
good.
A little more from the
from his POV, I think that's what he's thinking.
Lester, we are, and our Monica Alba, who covers.
That's why,
the
the first thing, bro, he immediately fixes his fucking hair. He does stay strong. Bro, this is a dude that's been in media 50 years.
Ads as quickly as possible. And Lester, this underscores
he knows what this is.
We were having earlier, which is that this
is
a moment that
he's not stupid.
Brings the country
He's a master opportunist. Absolutely.
Condemnation for this political violence.
100%.
We are hearing from all quarters of the political universe, including some of those who have been quite critical of former President Trump. Liz Cheney, for example, saying the reports of the shooting in Pennsylvania are horrifying. Violence of any kind has no place in American politics. We are grateful for the reaction of the Secret Service and other law enforcement and pray for the former president and all those injured. Similar messages from former President George W. Bush, House Speaker Mike Johnson, and on.
Listen to this. Trump assassination witness.
So we had someone who was here. You weren't inside the event, but you were just outside. Tell us what you saw.
So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farming Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field.
His hair,
stand
bro.
By the trees up there under the shade, and watch and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, but we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us.
Damn.
50 feet away from us.
Oh.
So we're standing there, and we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
The rifle.
Man.
We see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him.
Uh-oh.
And I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
Holy fuck.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police.
What the hell are they doing?
For the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope
was the angle,
behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%. Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Gotcha, bitch!
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, made sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
Damn.
It's incredibly shocking.
The guy was on the roof right there. You can see the white roof right there.
Did you get a look at him? Could you?
No, other than he was in muted colors, tan type clothing.
Uh-huh.
We saw the rifle flinging around.
Want to take him alive for questioning?
I mean, we saw the rifle.
Probably too risky.
I mean, do you know about guns? Do you know what kind of weapon it was?
Oh,
yeah, it's probably too risky.
Guns, for sure. No, I mean, it was a rifle of some sort. I wouldn't know, I wasn't close enough to read the label on it, but,
sure. But
it was a rifle of some sort. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you process what you've just seen?
Perrin Harkonnen doing interviews.
I don't know what to say, man. All I'll tell you is, if I walked up close to there with anything that Secret Service considered a problem, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now. But I don't know why a guy who we're standing there pointing out to police and Secret Service
dead? Yeah,
is
yeah.
climbing up the roof. Yes.
He
right
dead?
there by that tree.
Well, fuck him.
We were outside the security perimeter. But my question is, there's only a few buildings around here. Why is Secret Service not at every building here?
Well, there's a whole bunch of questions, I think, that are going to come.
There's a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Yes, she was right in front of me. She kept going back and forth right in front of me. Yes.
Tell us about her.
I mean, nice horse, nice lady running with a flag. Seemed very, patriotic.
But what's the significance of her?
No, he asked me if I saw a horse.
Okay. All right, well, listen, I'm sorry you had to witness that. That was a terrible thing. And you should stay safe with your family and
Gotcha.
Yourself. Thanks for your time.
Man.
Holy fuck, bro. He just, because they blew his head off. My God.
It's away from hearing President Biden. He is going to stand at that podium, and we believe this is in Delaware.
Oh, he's going to have to stand up.
For me. But he will address the nation about these events tonight in Florida. The shooting that currently wounded former President Trump, who is said to be okay. It killed a spectator, wounded another who's in critical condition. The shooter, who has not been identified, we know nothing about that person's background or what might have motivated him. That shooter is said to be deceased as well.
No surprise. Oh, there he is.
Has been rolling out.
There he is.
And here is the president.
Thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors.
Yeah.
Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to him shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that the people who, and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is, the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem.
He's right.
But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody.
Yeah.
I'll keep you informed, and if I am able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. But so far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that there's thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. Has anything happened? They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do, okay?
Mr. President, do you think there was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough to, I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments. Thank you.
Are you worried, President, with the security failing
the president stopping short of calling this an assassination attempt, but just noting that he plans to talk to
do we really know if it was political?
His understanding is the former president
maybe the dude just didn't like red hats.
President Biden speaking out against the scourge of political violence, saying there's no room for this.
Bro, the zombie. Yeah, y'all saw
as we
that?
had reported a few moments ago, the Biden campaign moving to take down its advertising, a pause in its political advertising in the wake of this. We know that the president.
Yeah, y'all got to give him some slack. He just woke up like 15 minutes ago. Yeah, you're right.
Shot, one killed.
You're right.
Another who is in critical condition, and again, the shooter, who we don't know a lot about right now, is also deceased. Let me go back to Kristen Welker in our Washington, D.C. bureau. The White House getting out in front of this very quickly, Kristen.
Lester, they sure are, and President Biden condemning this in the strongest terms possible.
I wonder why they're waffling about this assassination thing. It's obvious assassination. Like, what are we talking about? Why?
Everybody.
Why are they waffling? They just look so stupid.
Tried to speak with
like, what are you doing?
Why would you
do that? Why would you say that?
He also noted, Lester, that he is receiving thorough, robust briefings from his national security team, from his federal
Assassination's
agencies,
a strong word.
Will undoubtedly continue throughout the night. The White House will undoubtedly need to keep the public informed.
It's pretty strong too, huh?
As you point out, as they have pulled down and are working to pull down all of their ads, as the Trump campaign is in a media blackout, and it speaks to, Lester, the seriousness of this moment, the gravity of this moment.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, somebody else already got killed.
Something has just shifted in our American politics.
There might be two people that got killed. We just don't know yet.
This act of political violence, which, as the president said, cannot and will not be tolerated, and it does come as everyone is preparing to go to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention, another event that will be met with heavy security. The perimeter there will be quite strong, quite large. Getting into the actual area where the convention is taking place will undoubtedly require going through magnetiles, making sure that no one is armed going into that event. But again, Lester, this just underscores, I think, that something fundamental has really shifted in our American politics today.
Yeah, it's been, it's certainly, the threat has been talked about, but to see it play out on this scale is certainly horrifying. Kristen, thank you for that. We'll go back to you in a bit. Let's bring in our senior Washington correspondent, Hallie Jackson. You have a statement from Donald Trump Jr., the former president's son.
There we go.
Yeah, via a spokesperson to our colleague Peter Nicholas, that listen, you heard President Biden say he tried to reach former President Trump on the phone. We know that the former president's son has spoken with him in a statement saying they just talked on the phone, with Donald Trump Jr. saying that his dad is in great spirits, that he will never stop fighting to save America, no matter what the, in Donald Trump Jr.'s words, no matter what the radical left throws at him. So what we can glean from this, a couple of things, that former President Trump is, as his campaign says, fine. He is well enough to speak. He is well enough to be on the phone, at least with his immediate family members, at least with his son, Donald Trump Jr. We know that he is receiving medical treatment at a local facility with this rally happening, of course, in Butler, Pennsylvania. And we know that there has been a slew of reaction, as Kristen, as you, as others have talked about from both sides of the aisle here, strongly condemning political violence after this
Trump's speech after this has the potential to go so fucking hard.
All right, Hallie, thank you. Kip Tom,
it will be
former
historic.
U.S. ambassador to the UN, was just a few yards from the former president when the shots rang out. Thank you for joining us, sir. Can you tell us what you saw?
Well, I was just with the president a few moments earlier before he came on stage, and everything seemed like a normal day. But when he walked down that red carpet and walked up to the podium, and after he spoke for about 10 minutes, I was sitting
if he
in the
speaks
front
tonight,
row
it'll be over.
Into the runway, but
bro,
all of a sudden these shots broke
I'm going to be
out,
honest,
and I
guys.
there was people
after the first debate, it was over.
Fireworks, but I seen the gun smoke, and
it was
obviously there was a person about 15
now
foot
it's
behind
really
me
now
that
it's
was hit.
Jover.
I think severely wounded, at least at the least. But
2 confirmed dead. Is that true?
The crowd stayed pretty calm for the most part. And,
damn.
But you know, it sounded like there was 6,
Holy
7
fuck,
shots
man, that's
to start
sad.
with, and then
that's
seemed
really
like
sad.
There was a little pause, and then we heard a different caliber gun fired, which I assume is probably the Secret Service. But then I thought I heard another couple of rounds come off, but it felt like it was behind me. But it could have been the echo.
Did you hear did President Trump say anything?
No, he was just giving the typical rally speech. That he typically
Conor
does
McGregor tweeted,
you know, and trying to encourage voters.
I bet he did.
Get out and vote, and talking about his plan for America.
But as the shots rang out, did you hear? Did he cry out? Did someone tell him to get down, or was that instinctive?
Yeah, we heard that. We heard everybody say,
yeah,
down,
I bet he says something about it, right? I'm trying to find it.
First, maybe he had been hit more severely than he was. I mean, it's already severe. And
somebody got to link it to me.
It hit his ear. It could have been a little bit closer. It could have been disastrous. But when he went down to the ground, and he got up, he put his fist up in the air or his hand up in the air.
Mr. Beast tweeted.
We knew he was okay.
Oh, shit.
Presumably,
future president Mr. Beast.
A lot of people in that crowd. By now, you have heard that one spectator was killed and others critically wounded. Has it settled in of how close a brush everybody in that arena or setting came tonight?
Yeah, there was a lot. It was interesting listening to the people as they departed the scene, and what was going through my mind, and of course being a little older than many of those that were there, but I was recalling the Kennedy assassinations and some of the other attempts that were made during my lifetime, and I was recalling those and thinking about those. And then
remember somebody threw a shoe at Bush?
Where we're at today, and we still have a problem with this.
Bro, so, Bush dodged it too.
It's shocking.
Remember that? He's
most people.
Is the second one?
There's no question about it.
Understandably. Ambassador, thank you so much for taking the time being with us. We're glad you and yours are safe after this tonight. Retired ATF Special Agent Jim Kavanaugh is with me. By now, as you know, we've been reporting that the shooter in this case is deceased, presumably shot by law enforcement. I think the next question will be, is this a lone operator, the proverbial lone wolf?
It probably
is.
Is
Part of some kind of conspiracy? Those are two different things.
It's probably not a big conspiracy. It's probably just a crazy person.
At least put the dots together.
Yeah, that's what I bet.
Well, let's start with the deceased shooter, Lester, and identify him, and then, sweep his
Alex Jones
devices, phone, computer, etc., for, associates, Confederates, and start interviewing around the circle around him.
I see how I find it.
You've dug out a lot from the reporters and the witnesses since we last talked, and it appears that maybe the shooter. It seemed like to me, watching the video closely, that the first shot or two is where the President Trump reacts.
Hey, Jim, let me just stop you for a second. I just received a new piece of information that I want to get your thoughts on. We're now, from a confirmed source, that the shooter was actually firing from outside the perimeter. That changes a lot in terms of the security posture at these things, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, but what's surprising to me is that a shooter could get in an elevated position at any kind of a Secret Service event, because the first thing that the service does is they get all the elevated positions.
Well, they apparently did. They missed one.
Sniper teams up there and lookouts with binoculars and rifles.
So, BlizzCon does a better job than this.
From the witnesses that this was a distant shot now. That
yeah,
the reason the shot wasn't as loud, it was further off in the distance. And it looked like watching the video.
Yeah, Carrot Top set the record straight on this.
When the president turned his head to the right, the first shot or second shot,
suspicious
the first
fake. It's not fake.
Is when he grabs his right ear.
It's not fake.
And then he, on his own volition, goes down. Squats down.
People want it to be fake because they know it.
But you can see it.
The people that want it to be fake are people that are against Trump. They don't like Trump.
As a normal reaction to.
They're like, this will make Trump look good, so it's fake.
More rounds.
Fuck out of here.
After that, there's maybe another 5 rounds.
Stop. It's not fake.
And Dasha Burns had a witness that she just interviewed, and he talked about he counted 7 rounds, and that was close. I don't know can't tell the exact number. I have to listen to that audio very, very closely. But I mean that sort of jives with what the witness said. So it looks
this
like
is probably a joke, but it's funny.
An assassin.
President Trump will be at tonight's UFC fight.
Perimeter. That's why you had mentioned.
Ain't no way.
Magnetometers. Well, if you never breach the security perimeter, nobody checks you. And the first shot or second might have been the one intended to kill the former president, but it grazed his right ear.
Yeah, Jim, let me bring back up
God.
Eddie Pomporis, a former Secret Service agent again.
Please
Eddie, thank you for staying with us. I'd like to get your reaction to the fact this person was firing from outside.
I don't think Secret Service would let him, probably.
That raises a lot of questions about
Seems very
how these
unlikely.
areas are secured.
That's one of the most difficult things when you do outdoor
science.
Yeah,
realistically, Like it would be, that would be anime, right? That definitely would be anime, but it's probably not going to happen.
Environment, I only have to worry about what's on the inside. When you do open rallies like this, right? You're outside. You have to worry about line of sight issues. Line of sight is a massive problem. Why is it a problem? Because somebody can be out in the distance and really engage your target from a long range. And there are weapons out there that allow you to do this. So even though, let's say you hunker this whole area down, you've got the magnetometers, you've got the tactical element, everything's locked and tight.
She's on a roof? No, I saw it. There's a video of like a dead body on a roof.
Cover everything?
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
That's a problem. These are probably, of all the types of defenses you can do, these are probably the least favorite amongst Secret Service agents, because you have the inability. And even if somebody is in an elevated position or not, how do you secure all those elevated positions when you have weapons with the capabilities that are able to shoot long distances? This is what you are up against.
Yeah, and you point about weapons that can shoot long distances. We tend to think of those as long guns, things that stand out certainly in a crowd, whether you're, no matter what side of the fence you're on. The fact that this person is at some distance was able to strike the former president.
All right.
Just hours ago in Pennsylvania, an assassin who they're now reporting is dead fired at least 5 shots at President Trump, hitting him once in the side of the head. And then Trump defiantly stood up and pushed the Secret Service off of him and said, F you, fight, fight, fight. This is incredible history happening in front of our face. This is happening right out in the open. But I told Elon Musk months ago, and he agreed and said he should up a security, and Trump should up a security, that the deep state's not playing games. They are going for broke, ladies and gentlemen. And the fact that they attempted to kill Trump, and make no mistake, that's who's behind this, means they are going to go all out. The deep state is now going to try to blow up Trump's airplane, and they're going to try to kill Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson and other leaders. This is a full coup against any loyal American defending our republic in the process of the populist movement taking our country back. So I don't say this is an alarmist.
Who is this?
I was on the show just days ago. We'll post it to X. The crew's coming in right now on Saturday night. They're going to pull it up. Saying they're going to try to kill Trump imminently. They're going to try to kill Elon Musk imminently. I don't say stuff just to say it. I say it when I see all the evidence and I know it. And notice how the media is pointing out, oh, he survived an assassination, no big deal. They're blocking the news. The incredible footage of him shot in the side of the head, the blood, him saying, fight, fight, fight. This is insane, but thank God Elon has said officially now he fully endorses and supports President Trump. We need unity right now.
Uh-oh.
And I'm not a drama queen, folks. This is a real fight against the globalists. They want to kill Elon Musk. They want to kill Donald Trump. They want to kill Tucker Carlson. They might even kill Joe Rogan because Joe is fully awake now. They can't have these incredibly populist voices out telling the truth. And I'm in danger too. But I'm down the list a long way.
Yeah.
So America is in maximum danger right now. We do not need anybody to go out and be violent to respond to this.
That's right.
And I know you're smart, you wouldn't do that. But the globalists, the next move so obvious, are going to stage false flags now, as I've been warning you, with 12 days of the election, and blame it on Trump supporters. Now that's about to happen. How many times have I said on the show the last few months? When they try to kill Trump or kill Trump, then they stage the attacks.
Uh-huh.
Then they come after Musk and Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan and Alex Jones and everybody else.
Yeah.
So now we're in maximum danger. I'm in Northern California, working on a huge story that breaks tomorrow.
Oh.
I'll leave it at that. But I'll be doing a live show tonight, Infowars.com/show and band.video. We'll be breaking it all down. Follow me at Real Show and Sarah on X. But this is a serious time for America and the world. The deep state is in trouble. They're losing, so they're going to go for broke, just like they killed Kennedy in '63. But this time, America and the world's awake. Pray for President Trump. Pray for justice. Pray for a great awakening. And pray for peace. We'll be breaking it all down at Real Alex Jones right here on X.